Hey friends, today I'm going to be making some crackers, and the recipe that I'm using comes from Low Carb Spin. Now, a few months ago I made this recipe and absolutely loved it. I did a video, I'll link that up in the cards. And I had a hankering for some more crunchy crackers, but right now I'm doing a little bit lower dairy than normal, and so I wanted to see if I can make these crackers dairy free. So I went through the ingredients and kind of figured out some substitutions, and I'm gonna try it out. I haven't done it yet, so this could be a total flop, but I'm gonna try it out and we'll see what happens. So there are a lot of ingredients in this recipe, but it really comes together pretty fast. It's not super complicated, which is nice. So there's hemp hearts, and then instead of the whey protein, I'm gonna use some unflavored beef protein from Equip. There's some acacia fiber, and I just realized I forgot my collagen. There's gonna be some unflavored collagen. Instead of the Parmesan cheese, I'm gonna try using nutritional yeast. It was that or just up the pork rind content, and I thought the nutritional yeast might give it a good flavor since I'm not putting any cheese in the recipe. Then we do have the pork rinds, and I have a few different flavors, and the one that sounded the best was the Cajun flavor. I didn't have any unflavored, so we're gonna go with Cajun to give it a little bit of spice. Then we have some baking soda and some baking powder, some onion powder. I'm still gonna put in the onion powder, so it'll be a little bit of extra onion with the Cajun seasoning. And then instead of the cheese or butter powder, I am gonna be using some MCT oil powder, see if that works. That's all the dry ingredients. For the wet ingredients, instead of butter, I'm gonna use olive oil. We'll see how that goes. And then instead of the sour cream or heavy whipping cream, I'm gonna be using some coconut milk. Then we have some mustard and some eggs. I am going to double this recipe because if you're gonna get all of these ingredients out and go through the effort of making it, you might as well make a lot. And that is another reason that I'm really hoping that this is not a fail. Before we jump in, I wanna give a big shout out to a brand new sponsor to the channel. The sponsor of the video today is Gem, and they make a whole food based multivitamin that actually tastes really, really good. So I don't know about you, but I am so sick of taking pills. I've taken lots and lots of supplements throughout my life, and it's just no fun. And from personal experience, I have found that whenever there's a healthy habit that I actually enjoy and look forward to, I am like 10 times more likely to continue on with that healthy habit. So that's one of the reasons that I absolutely love the Gem multivitamin, because not only is it packed with nutrients that come straight from whole food, it also tastes really delicious, which makes sense because they actually partnered with a pastry chef to develop these, and so they actually do taste like dessert. It's like a citrus ginger flavor. It's got like turmeric, it's a little bit of a ginger spice to it, and it tastes like a little chewy cookie or something like that. It's so, so delicious. Gem is packed with more than 20 vitamins, minerals, superfoods, and even probiotics and prebiotics for digestive health. And because they come from real foods like turmeric, acacia, ginger, pumpkin seeds, and so many more, our bodies can easily recognize, absorb, and utilize the nutrition. If you decide you want to give Gem a try, they are offering a very special deal for all of my viewers. You can get 50% off of your first month. To get that deal, all you have to do is use my link, dailygem.com/indigo, and then use my coupon code indigo at checkout. Thanks again to Gem for sponsoring the video today. It is sponsors like Gem that allow me to do what I do and to offer you all the free content that I'm able to provide. First off, we're gonna measure the dry ingredients, and another thing I love about the recipes over at Low Carb Spin is they always give really accurate measurements with weight, and so when you're trying a new recipe, the last thing you want is to measure inaccurately and have it flop because of that. So I love that they offer the weight measurements. We are gonna do 60 grams or 6 tablespoons of hemp hearts. And of course, I should remember that I'm doubling the recipe, so we're gonna do 120 grams or 12 tablespoons of the hemp hearts. Then I'm gonna do 48 grams of the beef protein, and again, this is in place of the whey protein. Next is 12 grams or 4 teaspoons of acacia fiber. Acacia powder, acacia gum, they're all really the same thing. Next is 28 grams of the unflavored collagen. I love how much protein this recipe has in it with the pork rind crumbs, the collagen, the beef or whey, if you use, depending on what you use, there's lots of protein in these. Next, we're gonna do the 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. And again, this is in place of the Parmesan cheese. I'm really hoping it works out. And again, I should not forget that I'm doubling the recipe and should do a full 1/2 cup. Am I the only one that doubles recipes and then realizes at the end that there was like 1 or 2 things that I forgot to double? That is the worst. Okay, pork rind crumbs, 60 grams, doubled 120 grams. Oops, I should zero out my scale. Now we're gonna do a teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and 18 grams of the MCT oil powder that is in place of the cheese or butter powder. And I should mention that this whole written recipe is over on Low Carb Spin's video, which of course I will link up in the cards and in the description. I just pulled the text right from their description, and that is what I'm using for the recipe. I'm gonna get this thoroughly mixed. It smells good with the nutritional yeast and the onion powder and the Cajun pork rinds. I think this is going to be a very tasty cracker. I was wondering though that if I had plain pork rinds and maybe did something different with the nutritional yeast, maybe you could make a cracker that could be suitable for something sweet, like if you wanted to put peanut butter on it or something. Mustard is one of the wet ingredients. So of course, if you were gonna do like a sweet cracker, you'd wanna do something about the mustard, do something different there. Now for the wet ingredients, I'm gonna do my olive oil. I'm gonna do 4 tablespoons, which is about 60 milliliters or 60 grams. So I'm just gonna measure it using my scale so I don't have to get another measuring spoon dirty. Next, we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of the coconut milk. That's about 30 grams or 30 milliliters. 2 heaping teaspoons of Dijon mustard. All I have is the horseradish mustard, which I think I might have used last time, so I think it'll be fine. And then 2 eggs. While I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven to 375. Now I'm gonna add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients and mix it up until it forms a nice cracker dough. Okay, I have my parchment paper here. I'm gonna get it greased. And grease the second one. Ooh, that parchment paper comes off so nice. I'm gonna also spray my pizza cutter real quick. That's probably plenty. And since I'm doing 2 batches, I think I'm just gonna cut off the edges and throw that with the other batch, and so I can have a nice rectangle, at least on the first one here. I forgot I'm not supposed to cut these until after they bake a little bit. So I am putting them on my pan that has my cookie sheet on there. So they're kind of raised up above the bottom of the pan. And I'm gonna throw these in the oven for 7 minutes while I roll out this one. Gotta get the egg white wash ready. This is my first batch is gonna be done in less than a minute. I'm gonna save that yolk for something else. And I'm just gonna get this frothy. Okay, crackers in the oven are done. All right, I'm gonna slide these off here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start the other ones baking while I egg wash these and cut them. Now I'm going to brush with the egg whites, and that just makes them really glossy and look really pretty like fancy crackers. Okay, now to score these, and I love when they're all like even and the same size, so I'll do my best, but definitely no guarantees. Okay, got little Cheez-It size here. And once these other ones come out of the oven, got 2 minutes, so right on schedule, I will pop these back in. Let's see for how long. For another 7 to 10 minutes. Although sometimes like the outside ones can get done faster, so you pull off some and then you cook the rest for a little while longer. So I will be playing it by ear. Second batch is done with its par baked, so I'm throwing these back in for that 7 to 10 minutes, and we'll slice the other ones. So without the edges cut off on this one, it ended up being too big to go on the pan, so I did cut off some of the batter on the sides, and so I have it left over here, and I'm gonna try something different with it. I will show you that in a second, but gotta first do the egg wash. Okay, not perfectly even, but it's gonna have to do. Okay, with this last bit of batter I have here, I'm gonna see if I can make a tostado. It's not gonna be a tortilla because it won't be like pliable, but it'll just be a big crispy round cracker, but it maybe could look fun. So we'll try it here in this tortilla press. Okay, here we go. Ooh, I pressed it too hard, it came out the side. Oh, I should have sprayed my parchment paper squares. I didn't think of that. I'll just take this part off. So I've been pulling some off. The edges always get done first. I think the rest of these are done. They don't have to be 100% crispy when you take them off, but they should be pretty close. They will crisp up a little bit more as they cool off. But usually I can tell by looking at the bottom. Ooh, it's still hot. Looking at the bottom, if the bottom is nicely browned, it's probably done. If it's still, light colored, it's probably still a little doughy. But I think all of these are done. I'm gonna get my second batch in, and once these cool, I will do a taste test. Okay, so I'm gonna do a taste test, and I'm gonna pretend like I haven't been nibbling off the edges of the pans this whole time, because it's so good. Okay, taste test, here we go. Can't wait to see what this tastes like. Crisp, this one's still a little warm. Let me find one that's cooled off all the way. Yeah, this one's cooled off all the way. There's the crisp on it. All right, taste test. These are so good. They're so good. The Cajun flavor from the pork rinds comes through just as a tiny little bit of spice, tiny little bit of heat, but not, I don't like it super spicy, so it's not enough to make it super spicy. It's like perfect. The nutritional yeast and the pork rinds themselves give like this incredible savory flavor, but then you also have the hemp hearts that give like a nuttiness, because you don't want it to just be 100% protein flavored. There's the nuttiness of those hemp hearts in there. This is fantastic. These are so good. It is possible that the dough was a little bit more delicate than the original version, and if so, it's probably because of the beef protein versus the whey protein. I think the whey like glues stuff together a little bit more, but it wasn't too bad. I still was able to work with it and got delicious crackers out of it, so I wouldn't say it's a big problem or anything. Just that's my one impression, was that the dough was just a little bit more difficult to work with. The crackers themselves, I think, are also a little bit more delicate. They're very airy and crispy, but I think they'll hold up really well to like dipping. So all in all, I have to say this is a complete win. I am going to be really enjoying these. So I'm definitely going to be figuring out the macros on these and portioning them out, because I could eat this whole batch, no problem. So I'm going to try to use some self-control and spread them out for a little while so I can enjoy them. If you are dairy-free or low dairy, I absolutely recommend trying these. They are so good. Even if you're not dairy-free, these are an excellent cracker. And I do think, if you don't happen to have butter powder, but you have MCT powder, that would probably work as a substitution. The beef protein instead of the whey worked as a substitution. What else? Coconut milk in place of the sour cream worked just fine. Oh, the nutritional yeast instead of the Parmesan cheese worked just fine. So if you ever need to make some substitutions, hopefully that helps you with that. I'm going to finish up the last batch here in the oven. Then I'm going to make my little tostado, and I'll show you how that turns out in a minute. Here's my huge bowl of crackers, and I'm gonna be honest, after I cooked these, I was like, I need more. So I made another double batch that I'm working on cooking right now. So I will be really, really stocked up. Here's my tostado. It got nice and crispy. I was worried it was gonna like burn on the edges before it got crispy in the middle. It was still soft when I took it out, but now that it's cooled off, it is nice and crispy all the way through. I don't know that it would be the right flavor profile to use like as a tostado, but I was thinking you could score it like tortilla chips. And if you wanted something tortilla chip-like, you could make it in that shape. But anyways, it was a fun experiment. I'll have to decide how I'm gonna eat this later. I've already eaten so many of these that I'm full right now, so it'll be in another meal. So that is it on the dairy-free crackers. Definitely recommend. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.